Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Morning Brews show with myself and the Roadman. On today's show, Tottenham Hotspur annihilate Aston Villa at Villa Park. Are Arsenal starting to worry us? Chelsea beat Newcastle, and Premier League is not giving money to the Football League. Tune in here. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Tottenham on Tour, your world-famous morning news show, news, brews and clues. How are you doing this morning, David?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. All right. I do apologise. I'm currently on my phone. My internet's been having issues, so I've got an engineer currently trying to sort it. So if I sound really bad, I look really bad, I do apologise, but it is what it is. We're still here. We're still here.
David, you look absolutely perfect. Let's get on to the first piece of news, shall we? The Premier League did not agree terms on payment to... Actually, no. Let's see who's in the chat firstly. Let's see who's in the chat. I'm rusty. We got Sean Slater, member. We got Rayleigh Yid, member. Andrew Gregory, member. Tweak, member. Fran, member. James, member. Mr. Colin Cross, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Hopefully you're all well. Right. And yeah, as good as ever, absolutely. The Premier League not agreed terms on giving payment to the EFL. What's your thoughts on this? This looks like Super League, doesn't it? But the Premier League. But they don't want to give their money. They don't want to. They're hoarding money. They don't want to give money to the football pyramid because they know that there's a new Champions League coming, which means there's a new Super League coming, which means they're going to push forward. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? What do you think of it?
Yeah, from what I've tried reading up on it, it really is just screwing all the little teams, how it's been set for years now. You know, ever since Sky Sports effectively bought the league, there's always been the pyramid where we feed money down to the littler clubs so they can survive. Now, the way this is set, and from what I've read, they're even doing rules to where I don't know if there's going to be a change in regulations to go more like UEFA when it comes to spending the money, which if you're going to take away money from them and then you're going to allow like Premier League clubs at the higher mark of the league to spend more money, well, it's only going to benefit who? The ones that are already getting done for corruption. You know, City, this is going to benefit City now. And if they put these rules in before City get charged, what a surprise that they get away with it. Because they'll be put in that bracket of having basically more money. So they'll be allowed, I think so like 75%, I think, they're allowed to spend of their overall earnings, you know? And
they're changing that as well, aren't they? That's part of the double whammy. Not only are they not giving money to the football pyramid, they're changing the profit and sustainability rules, which I think was going to change anyway. So before I go all reactionary and say, oh, blah, 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 greedy, this was always going to happen. I think it's not totally working. They want to have less situations like Everton. But again, we don't know what they're really thinking in them. But in terms of giving money to the EFL, this is the Super League. They know that UEFA are now bowing down to Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juventus, and all the guys that were in that Super League cartel, because they have rightly said, we are the draw. We are the big clubs. No one's going to watch the UEFA Champions League without Real Madrid in it. No one's going to watch the Champions League without Barcelona in it, even though Barcelona are absolutely dreadful at the moment. They've still got that name. They've still got that stadium. They're still that club. Juventus, the big clubs want more of the money for themselves. And to be fair, they're actually entitled to that money. They're entitled to it because they are the draw. No one would watch the Champions League without them. But it's too much. It's too much. The Premier League don't need to compete with UEFA. They don't need to compete with them. But that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to market the Premier League as the greatest football competition in the world. It's too much, isn't it, David?
Yeah, it is. It really is. And these littler clubs that the Premier League's always fed money to, they struggle with that as it is. You see them now. Don't get me wrong. You could argue the point of, well, they've got owners. Why should, like, say hypothetically, Tottenham earn all the money we do, but yeah, majority of it has to get thrown down to the littler clubs.
Yeah.
And then, why should we do that? That's the way it's been. That's the way it's been. English football, British football in itself has been literally, it's been grown on that. It's been grown about these clubs being there.
Yeah.
If this money was to not feed down to these clubs, so many are going to disappear. Yeah, they're going to suffer big.
I mean, Bury's already gone bankrupt. Hereford went bankrupt. Put it in the comments down below. Which clubs have gone bankrupt, actually? That's a good thing. Which clubs? So many clubs. Southend United could go under. Southend United have been teetering on the edge for a long time. So many footballing institutions that have been around, like an Oldham Athletic, which were in the Premier League at one point, could cease to exist. And it is just going to pave the way for people with unlimited money to start buying these little football clubs, because that's the only way you're going to survive.
Yeah, and that's a big issue. But also, yes, you can say about these little club owners where they're not running the club right. Where you see a lot of it where, they go in, they get an owner, and he basically doesn't put any money in towards the club, and then they slowly can't afford it, and they can't bring in the revenue they need.
So, David, it's very difficult. So, in this climate, costs are going up. Staff wages are going absolutely through the roof. Like, if I wanted to get a job as a barista now, I'd be asking £20 an hour because I'm that good. And that's not me but bigging myself up because I'm that good at barista. That's what I'd be asking.
Yeah.
Because you go for a sandwich now, it's minimum £6. Where especially if you're in London, maybe if you're in like an area with less costs, like outside of London, maybe it'd be different. But the costs are so high for everything.
Yeah.
Building materials gone through the roof. Tradesmen have gone through the roof. Unless you have people with unlimited money, you can't do it.
No, and that's where taking away this pyramid style system that the Prem's had for so many years now, I just feel like it's stupid. I just feel like I don't understand why. I do understand why the clubs voted against it, because obviously if they have more money to spend, it's better for them. Yeah. Now, this is not going to benefit Tottenham whatsoever. Just to all the Spurs fans in this chat, yeah, right? This ain't benefiting Tottenham. This is actually going against us, because Levy had the perfect situation right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where he had all these clubs struggling to spend financial fair play and all this stuff, and he had a bit of leeway to go after all these players and everything. If you take that away and you give City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, well, not Liverpool, because the fair play to Liverpool, they're not that bad, but the likes of Arsenal, even Newcastle, if Newcastle's owners had free reign to spend 80% of their income.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though, David. Newcastle don't actually make any income. They've got rich owners, but they don't make any income, so it actually still penalise Newcastle. But for the club,
right.
What that would do would actually be gatekeeping. That would be gatekeeping for the big clubs, because Man United make like a turnover of $1 billion a year, which is far more than any of the other clubs. But they spend their money terribly. It'd actually be gatekeeping. So we've got money now, and you're not allowing us to spend it to keep the normal cartel in place, because that's what it is.
Yeah. See, if this rule's come in, the only way I can think it'll benefit Tottenham is if the rule is they have to spend that 80% of their revenue within a certain amount of years. They have to spend it.
For one, I'm not a fan of Mr. Levy, and as you know, I do this on a regular basis. But he is right. Business needs to be sustainable. Football is no longer what I love for football. Football is a club. It's not a business. All these people are saying, oh, football's a business, football's a business, football's a business. No, it's a club, like going to the RAC club. It's like you're part of a club, you're part of a rugby club, you're part of this club, you're part of I don't know. It's a club. You put money in and you get something back out of it. But because football has now been turned into a business, we're now all customers. We don't have a say on how our club that we've spent all our lives watching, don't get to say how it's run. But it's got to be sustainable. They can't allow clubs like Chelsea to just shove a load of money in. I was just in Courchevel. One of the owners of Chelsea has a hotel, like a 7-story hotel that charges £5,000 a night each. Like, it's not like they ain't got a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a dark day for football. It really is, and I hope everyone realizes that how bad this is going to be. Because at the end of the day, if you give free rein to these clubs, yeah, exactly, Fran. Well, apparently, I think in 2025 they're looking to buy it. I think, but if you give free rein to these clubs to have the money, then yes, we're going to see incredible talent within the league.
Yeah,
but that's all it's going to be. It's going to majority of it is going to be pretty much foreign talent, and other leagues are going to suffer as well. It's going to have a massive knock-on effect. Clubs can buy the odd few players out of a different league,
yeah.
but if you give them that much more money, where they can buy whoever they want, yes, the league will be great because we'll have so much talent in it.
Football. They will
Yeah.
The good thing about football is there is so much choice. You can watch the Italian league, you can watch the Spanish league, you can watch the French league, you can watch the Bundesliga, and it's great. Yeah. It's great. More football is good. If the Premier League take over everything, it will be crap. What will then happen is clubs like Real Madrid will be, I want some of that. I'm going to join the Premier League, because they could join the Premier League. There is nothing to say that Real Madrid could not join the Premier League. They could leave La Liga if they wanted to, because La Liga is an organisation and Real Madrid is its own body. What would happen if Real Madrid, Barcelona, Juventus, Paris Saint-Germain, AC Milan, Inter Milan all suddenly say, you know what, we're joining the Premier League. We give them this much money, and our governing bodies can do nothing about it.
Yeah, you'll never see the Championship will die.
Yeah,
the League One, League Two, the National League, all of it will die. You'll see all these clubs. I mean, you look at, say, who at the moment? Say Wrexham, yeah, right. I follow Wrexham. I'm literally not far away from it, and you look at the owners they got. They got great owners who put money into the club. They come out of the National League and they're doing really well in the next league. Yeah, they could get promoted again. And that to them, to the Wrexham fans who have spent years in one of the oldest stadiums in Europe, bear in mind, watching their team do that, it's fantastic. Yeah. But then they try and build up, and then when that money tries to come down, it's not going to happen. Yeah. So then they'll slowly go back and back and back, and then you got like whoever else, other teams who do really well coming up. They're all just going to die. They will die and slowly just disappear because their owners are not going to be able to afford to run their clubs. And it's a shame. And, shame on all clubs, all 14 clubs, I think it was, that voted. Shame on them that they voted for this, including ours, because obviously we must have voted as well.
Yeah.
And, shame on them all. Shame on all them owners. Shame on everyone in that room.
Find the voting record, who voted what, or is it anonymous?
I have no idea, mate. Honestly, I'll probably it'll get leaked. Yeah, it'll get leaked or something. But apparently, 14 clubs voted, and shame on all of them because this was not needed done. I understand that they want to keep more of their money that they're earning, but at the end of the day, there should be a system in place. In that case, where the Championship and other leagues like that, lower than them, they still get some form of revenue.
Yeah.
Because football in this country was built by these teams, the Wimbledons, the QPRs, all them type of teams.
The Leeds Uniteds, the Leicester, it's madness.
It's crazy. It's ridiculous. And at the end of the day, shame on them all. That's what I'm saying. Like, shame on them all.
Benjamin Foster saying that Real president would sell his soul to the Florentino Perez would sell his own grandmother. He would sell his own grandmother. Wait, so clubs want Madrid, no. What I'm saying is this could lead into that. What if the Premier League becomes so big because they're not giving money that one day they'll just say, you know what, we're joining the Premier League because they physically could. And people would say, oh, but travel times and stuff like it's only a 2-hour flight. It takes longer to go from London to Manchester than it does to fly from Madrid to London. And they will fly on private. The flight times wouldn't mean nothing. The only thing that might be an issue is jet lag, but even that wouldn't be an hour, not a difference really. These ultra fit footballers, they could do it. I flew to Geneva at the weekend. It was only an hour and 10 minutes. Sometimes my journey to the Midlands is less than that. It's not as long as that. It's not a long time. They could get on a private jet, which they own the airports for, fly straight to wherever, play a match, fly back. They can do it. They can absolutely do it. Right, on the next news. Arsenal, are they starting to worry us, David?
Yeah, got to be honest, Arsenal are flying at the moment. You know, when we do this show, we are completely unbiased in everything we try and say and do. Arsenal are absolutely on fire. And after 5 years and the amount of money they've spent, they should be. They should be in this position where they are challenging for the title. They've built up over years. They stuck with the manager at the hardest of times. They gave him what he wanted. And yeah, you know, they're there. They're top of the league at the moment, albeit pretty much same points as Liverpool. But they are flying. They're doing well. And fair play to them. You know, this is what we want our club to be like. But it takes time. You've seen that with them. 5 years it's taken them to be in this position. Will they win the league? I don't know. I think we're going to have a massive say in it with them 3 games.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if we win our games, beat all them 3, we could win it. You know, we've seen crazier things happen in this league. But yeah, Arsenal are doing very, very well. Do I think they'll have enough to win the league? I think it's going to be very tight. One thing I'm going to say is
I don't think they've got enough to win the league. But next year, if they buy another £100 million player, because I'm sorry, Mr. Postecoglou. I'm sorry, Mr. Postecoglou. This is why you buy £100 million players. They didn't win the league last year. So what do? They buy Declan Rice to make their midfield an absolute machine because Declan Rice is bloody awesome. I've been saying it for ages and I argue with Tottenham fans. Declan Rice is one of the top 5 midfielders in the world. He is ridiculously good. Not necessarily because of his playing ability, even though he's a fantastic player in his own right. It's his leadership. It's calmness, his guile. He is an absolute superstar of a footballer. I mean, I remember watching the Euros when England lost to Italy, and Declan Rice was just a stallion. He was just absolutely impeccable. He is such a good footballer. And this is why we should be buying £100 million footballers, because you buy that little gem that goes in the middle of the team that takes your team from a good team to the next level because you get that mentality. And he brings a winning mentality as well because he took, no offence, West Ham fans, but total offence. He took West Ham to a trophy. That is unbelievable. That is something we never would have thought in our lifetime. And Declan Rice captained that team to a trophy. He's fantastic. What's your...
Well, I'm sorry, I've got to add a little caveat to that of what you said about him taking a trophy, because in that game of the final, he wasn't the important player. I get what you're saying, captain in the team on that side. Yes. Yeah. But for me, on that day, it was all Paqueta and Bowen. I thought they were absolutely outstanding. Do you know what I mean? But I get what you're saying. You bring in these big, expensive players because, like you said, they have this certain mentality, but it needs to be the right players as well. There's no point us going to sign, excuse me, hypothetically, an Mbappe, yeah? Would Mbappe be amazing for us? Yes. Right? Yeah. But you've seen Mbappe's attitude, right? It's all about him. He's a very self-centered footballer as a person. Would he fit us? Change the dressing room? Whatever. You still got to get the right players. But I agree. Tottenham in itself, our most expensive player is Richarlison. I think we paid, 65 million for him?
I think we paid 51. It's 10 million in add-ons. It's still in Ndombele.
Ah, right.
At this current pressure, unless Richarlison hits those targets to make it him the record player, it's still in Ndombele.
Yeah, and if you look at the way we're signing players now, we've signed some bloody good talent, but you need to build upon that.
Yeah.
You really do need to build upon that, where you're signing these talents, but you're also signing top-notch players.
Yeah.
Not projects, players that are ready, players that are there to come into the team and make the team better. Right? You look at Havertz, came into Arsenal, right? I think they paid something like 60 million
We
for him.
all laughed, and he's getting important goals.
And that's the difference. They stuck with him.
Yeah.
Right? Every other team was slating him, laughing at him, taking the mick. Yet now he's doing it. He's settling down. Arsenal are becoming a unit.
Winning them games.
Yeah. And Arsenal are becoming a unit. You can see that. Right? Like we are. We're trying to become a unit. But we are many, many years behind them. Yeah. Can Arsenal go win the league? Of course they can. Yeah. Without a doubt. Liverpool could lose games. City don't look half as good as they usually are. They're struggling at the moment.
Yeah.
But then can Arsenal lose games? Yes.
City look like they're getting into a groove. But out of the three of them, the team that looks the most consistent is Arsenal. And they're top of the league because of it. And Ellie is saying they don't have as many points as they have last year. It doesn't mean anything. Because it's last year. They're winning games of football. They are going into the business end of the season, winning games of football. They're winning games of football. They've got a full squad, which is the most important thing. City are getting injuries. Liverpool are getting injuries because they're playing on two fronts. Arsenal are not getting injuries. They're not getting injuries because they've always had good medical team, Arsenal. They had Gary Lewin at one point. He was one of the best medical professions in football. They know they know how to make a good medical team and keep their players fit. It's madness.
Yeah, exactly. And I get they haven't got as many points as last season, but again, the league changes each year, right? That's what we've got to understand. At this point now, Arsenal are usually losing all their games.
Yeah.
At the business end of it, Arsenal bottle and lose all their games. Yet they're not now. They're getting them important wins, and they've had some really big wins. When you put a run in like they are at the moment, at the end of the day, that's where you win leagues. It's at this point now. Like I did say, but we can make a big statement in this. We play all three of them.
Yeah.
Now, usually we beat City. We could do it again. Liverpool, I think, is going to be a really good game. There's a lot of malice within that game from the Liverpool side because of something that was completely out of our control, and yet they still blame us for it, and we still get the refs having a go at us for it. Yeah. One penalty all season, by the way.
Yeah.
And the Arsenal game, they haven't beaten us, I think, They haven't beaten us at home, is it? For how long?
They beat us last year, didn't they?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's the first time in how long?
As well, didn't they? They beat us in the cup before that, and they beat us at home last year, I believe, from what I remember. I think they've won the last.
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah. But overall, statistically, we're better. Yeah.
But as a record against us head to head, forget the home or away, they've got a better record against us.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Got a better record against us recently.
But I think we're going to have a massive say in this, and at the end of the day, we've just got to carry on with what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yes, do we want Arsenal to win league? Of course we bloody don't. No one does.
Yeah.
But bad Arsenal fans. But at the end of the day, we need to sit there and look at ourselves, look at what we're doing. Yeah. We're doing really good at the moment. We went against the Villa, who everyone said were going to hammer us, and we walked them. We walked them. We look like a team.
Get to the Villa game. We're going to talk about Chelsea first.
Yes.
They won. Who cares? Moving on.
Actually, one thing. They might have won against Newcastle, but they're going to lose whoever played next.
Yeah.
There we go.
They're such a yo-yo club. They're like Tottenham when they won. The win one, lose one. Win one, lose one. No, they need to do that. And finally, for the last story of the show, we'll go for 10 minutes. We'll go slightly over the usual period. Tottenham absolutely annihilates Aston Villa. Thank God. And I'm just going to say this, guys. Agenderson, elephant in the room. The moment Emerson Royale is out of that football team, we firstly look like we can play football again. We score a ton of goals and we keep a clean sheet. Elephant in the room. Just saying. So many people have been saying, "Oh, it's not Emerson's fault. He's not that bad." Yada, blah 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 blah. Excuses, 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 excuses. Put a proper footballer in that position against a better team. We struggled against worse teams, against a better side that were more physical. We dominated them because we had a better footballer there. Emerson Royale needs to be the first player out the door. I know people are going to say, Agenderson, you're horrible to him, Ben. Oh, he's not that bad. People are horrible to him. He's a good player for the dressing room. He's crap. Seriously. Oh, he's not that bad. He had a good game for Emerson. Put a proper footballer in that system, we look infinitely better. And that's like, even with Udogie on the left side against Crystal Palace, we looked dreadful. Oh, it's difficult to play against a low block. Villa are a counter-attacking side as well. They're a counter-attacking side. They played 3-5-2. They played a low block, and we battered them. Discuss.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. And the reason I do, now, don't get me wrong, I like Emerson as a person, as a footballer, as a right back, as a straight right back, defensive right back. He's all right, yeah. But at the end of the day, the biggest telling story of anything when you see about a player coming on for another player is Dragusin.
Yeah.
He albeit made a mistake. Yeah, but albeit he made mistakes, but bear in mind he hasn't played barely any football. He came on after we got an injury, and he was solid. At the end of the day, he was solid. He did really well, considering. Yeah. That's what you need. We didn't bring on Emerson. We didn't bring on Eric Dyer. We didn't bring on a Sanchez. We didn't bring on a Davis. Yeah. We brought on Dragusin.
Yeah.
I think he won every ball in the air.
Yeah.
He made some fantastic blocks for balls coming into the box. He's got a bit of pace about him as well for his size, to be fair. Albeit he's not as fast as Van der Ven, but he's got pace about him.
Not even a bullet train is as fast as Van der Ven.
No, but he did good when he comes on. And that shows you the difference between bringing on an Emerson or something to bringing on a player like Dragusin. I agree. The players that are first out the door, the likes of Emerson, the Davis. Now, I love Davis. I'm Welsh, I'm biased. But Davises, the Emersons, the Skippies, they are not good if you want to win a league. Sorry, they're not. You need to bring in quality talent like the Dragusins to fill them roles. So when they need to be brought in, they're good enough to fill that role. And he was.
Yeah.
I give it to him. He was fantastic. I loved watching that cameo. Can he do it at the start of a game? Who knows? We haven't seen that yet. Not knowing what's going on with Van der Ven, we might see him against Fulham.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he'd be all right against Fulham.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we absolutely wiped the floor with Villa. Yeah. I've seen some of these like news accounts and stuff like that on YouTube and things like that, giving it all the Villa were poor, Villa were this. How dare you say Villa were poor? We made them poor. The way we played, we destroyed them. We gave them nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. And I got to give a big shout out to Brennan Johnson.
Yeah, absolutely.
He has been slated by this fan base. Now, I've been on here.
Including me.
I've been on here. I've been on Twitter. I've gone to everyone and said, just give him time. I know him. I've watched him. That was his single best game he's played for us, and he was outstanding. Yeah. He absolutely destroyed Matty Cash, gave him nothing.
Yeah.
And, this is the thing with this fan base. They're too reactionary to certain players. Right? They'll give someone like an Ndombele time. There's still fans now sitting there saying, oh, bring him back. He's but they don't give a Brennan Johnson time.
Yeah.
Yet he has got that talent there. He just needed time. Like Ange said, he didn't want him starting. He wanted him coming on to build up, give him time. Now look,
I'm gonna give quite a bit, because I went on Talk and Ball, big up the boys from Talk and Ball, Colin and Jose, and I said Brennan Johnson needs to do the simple things in football: be aggressive, take on his man, put crosses in the box. The last 2 games, he's done everything I wanted him to do. Yeah. Fantastic. More of that, please. If he starts doing that week in, week out, getting the ball, taking on his fullback, being a nuisance, he'll be brilliant. He showed what I want him to show. All heat is off Brennan Johnson for me. He's shown that he's doing what he wants to do. And he started well. He started well as well. When people say, he couldn't play off the bench. He can only play off the bench. Started. Best player on the pitch. He's doing the simple things of the game. And you know what? Fair play to Brennan Johnson. You shut me up. More of that, please. Professional performance. Brilliant performance. He knows what he's doing. And most importantly, my dad was saying it as well when we were watching the highlights. He's starting to get a bit of an arrogance about him. And he's
always had that. Yeah, he's always had that.
You're starting to see it on his face. When he scored the goal, he was just like, first he shut up the Villa fans, but you could see it on his face. Yeah, I did that. He's starting to get a bit of an arrogance about him. And I love that. I want that from him. I want him to show arrogance. I want him to be aggressive. Say, I am better than you. I want him to start doing that. That inner confidence, that inner arrogance about you needs to be done, because we should be doing that. He's showing he's got a bit of that Dele Alli-esque behaviour about him, but if he can keep it down and still keep his feet on the ground, he can do it. He can be an absolute superstar. That's what he's done. I love it. I love players being arrogant, especially when he does it against Matty Cash of all people.
Yeah. See, for me, I think the reason he wasn't when he first came to the club, because I've seen him at Forest do it, I've seen him for Wales do it. I think when he came to the club, obviously it's a huge step up, albeit, you know, from going from Forest, where he's had one season in the Prem, to being asked to go into a team like Tottenham, is a huge jump.
Yeah.
Now, I think when he first came in, he was overly shy, right? Yeah. He didn't want to show his arrogance. He didn't want to be like that. But I think he's fed into the team now. I think the likes of Maddison, who's got arrogance about him. You've got, say, who else? Like a Basuma. Basuma's got a bit of arrogance about him, you know? Romero's got that bit of arrogance about him. I think he's feeding off it now. Because, and if you see him when Udogie got swiped out by McGinn, who, I'm not being funny, it's a red card. I've seen people try and argue the point, it's a red. If you try and argue that point, you're doing it because it's Tottenham. Yeah, and the first person to go at McGinn was Brennan. Yeah. So that shows now he's coming into the team. It shows that he's starting to be there with the team, and he's got that in him, but he has to carry on. I'm not going to sit here and go, that's it, now he's perfect. He's not. We've got 11 games to go. I want to see that every game he plays. Yeah, I was about to bring up Vermin as well. Big up Timo. Another player slated by the fan base, laughed at. If you put his goals and assists over the games he's played, he's pretty much scored a goal or assisted each game.
4 and 7.
Yeah, 4 and 7. I'm sorry, but that's good. And it was a hell of a finish. That was not an easy finish in the slightest. To side foot it like that and put it into the bottom right corner was fantastic.
Yeah, great finish.
A great finish. And big up Kulu as well. I mean, in the game, I slated him. In the game, I was slating him. I was like, I don't think I writ it anywhere, but I was like, Kulu's this, Kulu's that. Come on, Kulu, you bad, all this. He actually was vital.
That first goal was sexual.
Yeah. Pape's cross. Wow. The fight from Kulu, the press from Kulu, winning that ball and that little dink of a pass. And then Pape might have sat off balance to do a cross like that. Now, I spoke to my brother yesterday, who's a United fan, and he said to me, that is the assist of the season.
It was outrageous.
Outrageous. He said it. That was the assist of the season because he was off balance, but to put it pinpoint in the perfect position, he even turned around and said it was assist of the season. And I'm not going to sit there and argue with him. I love Pape Matar, and another player who is just wonderful. And this is where you need to build on when we go back about bringing in big players, big money players, is because when you've got players like this, you add more quality to it. We could be a serious team.
Yeah.
When we talk about Ange Ball, and we've had such dross past quite a few games, and we see it come off like that, it is beautiful to see because we were fantastic. There's still tweaking needs to be done in defence. I mean, Watkins got in a few times, albeit they were offsides or he messed up passes and things like that. But that's what you got to take with this type of football. It's high risk. We're not a defended team anymore. We're a high line. We're attacking. We're pressing. And it worked fantastic. Villa couldn't do nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to get... Like, I'm people call me Eeyore all the time. I don't have the hat here. But got to give credit where it's due. We absolutely... I didn't think we would do it, but we absolutely thumped them. But... on that note, it's time to end the show. I do want to, well, let's bring this up quickly. We got a chat from Radiant. Sorry I didn't bring it up earlier, mate. We were mid-conversation. Thank you for the super chat. Any news on VDV? Hopefully it's not big. I have not heard a single thing. I think he was called into training yesterday to assess it, but I'm not sure. Have you heard anything, David?
No, I haven't heard anything, but from Dragusin's cameo, I'm not overly worried. Yes, he's a big miss.
Yeah.
But I think with Fulham, I'm not overly worried if he needs a game out. You know, I think Dragusin and Romero are a solid defensive pairing. And yeah, so I'm not worried personally. Yeah.
Absolutely. And on that note, it is time to end the show. A quick reminder to all the 56 people watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the Coffee Company. And if you are watching on Brian's Twitter, because there are a few of you, I can't believe how many people are watching on Brian's Twitter. Thank you for tuning in on Twitter. Please subscribe to Tottenham on Tour on YouTube. I've put the link on the screen. So if you are watching on Brian's Twitter and you haven't subbed to us, there is the link there. And please subscribe to the Coffee Company as well, the second channel of Tottenham on Tour. As well as with them. And the link is going to go on the screen. If you haven't, please subscribe to the Coffee Company. We do a daily mental health stream. We have good chats about everything, really. When can we next be on, David? I know you're not on tomorrow, so we might need to find a co-host for tomorrow.
You need to find your Dragusin, mate. You know,
we need to find a Dragusin to replace our Van Pen.
Yeah. Hopefully Thursday I should be all good. The engineer's just left my house with me, and then I so fingers crossed that's all sorted. But yeah, my daughter has a netball tournament that's going to be about 5 hours long tomorrow. So yeah, so that's going to be fun. Bunch of screaming kids throwing balls about. I could come with injuries, who knows? But yeah, hopefully Thursday, and we got some great news to come out with. Hopefully, so yeah, Thursday, fingers crossed.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you all so much for watching today. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, if you smell what the Kauff is brewing, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Ciao for now.